Hello everyone, Genki here, and today we're going to see if I can beat Pokemon Sword with only Chewtle. Chewtle is a pure water Pokemon that can be found on Route 2. It has a 284 base stat total, 26 points less than a first form starter. It has decent bulk with 50 HP and 50 defense, but 38 special defense means we'll need to be more careful around special moves. 64 attack versus 38 special attack means we'll be focusing more on the physical set. Lastly, with 44 speed, we'll be outsped a lot. I'm hoping our bulk will let us be able to live lots of hits. By level up, Chewtle learns 2 water moves, Water Gun and Liquidation, a weak special move, and a strong physical move. The rest of its move pool is still pretty good though. Bite and Headbutt are strong moves, but we will most likely never see a single flinch in this game. Jaw Lock is like Crunch, but instead of defense drop, the opponent's Pokemon cannot switch out, and Body Slam will be our go-to normal move. Getting a Paralysis will be huge since Chewtle will be outsped by most late game Pokemon. By TM, Chewtle does not get that much that interests me. Its only other physical water move is Dive, which requires the Water Bike. We will 100% have Liquidation by then. Revenge and Ice Fang will be good coverage, and Payback might have its uses since we'll be going second a lot. For those who know how I play, there is one big thing missing from this list. Chewtle learns no setup moves. I do have an idea for a substitute though. However, first, let's go over the rules. I can only use Chewtle in battle. No items in battle, only held items outside of combat are allowed. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's begin. I start by catching a Chewtle on Route 2. I named her Bubbles. She's brave nature, so more attack, less speed. We might need to change that later. She was at level 6, but she was only doing decent damage at best. It was hard to grind, but eventually we made it to Hop at level 9. Bubbles now had Bite. Hop's Wooloo did outspeed, but then Bite did over half of Wooloo's health. However, Wooloo hit us with a Growl before going down the next turn. This sent out Grookey, and Bite was barely doing any damage. Grookey's Branch Poke took Bubbles all the way to 6 HP. This was looking pretty bad, but then Grookey decided to only spam Growl, allowing Bubbles to slowly take it out. Last is Rookity, who obviously took out Bubbles. Hopefully that's not foreshadowing this run. We can now head to the wall area, where we just got Bubbles up to level 14. I then bothered looking for TRs, since Liquidation cost 8,000 watts. Once in Motostoke, we picked up the black glasses to boost dark type moves, and then attended the opening ceremony. After the ceremony was battle with Hop. I decided to go back to Professor McNoy's house to pick up the team for Payback. Wooloo still outsped, but Payback was a one-shot, so no attack drop. Grookey went for Scratch first, as Payback did a little over half its health. Grookey then went for Growl, surviving a second Payback. This caused Hop to use his potion, healing Grookey to barely green health, but Payback just put it back in red health. Grookey then wasted his turn on Taunt, so we took it out. Last is Rookity. It survived Payback with a quarter, but Bubbles was still in green health, so we easily took it out the following turn. Next up is Galar Mine, where we have to battle Bead. Solosis was a one-shot. Gothita and Hatenna were both 2-hit KOs, but we had enough health to tank the hits. Time for the first gym. With our first gym being Grass type, this was obviously really difficult. On our first attempt, we battled Milo at level 21, so Bubbles could have Headbutt. We also used the Silk Scarf to boost his damage. Bubbles outsped Gossifleur, but Headbutt was only a 3-hit KO. Gossifleur's round was doing 2 HP per hit, so Bubbles is at almost half health for Eldegoss, who easily finished off Bubbles with a single max overgrowth. I decided to do some raids, because Bubbles was not at max Dynamax level. For those who forgot, Dynamax levels affects Bubbles' HP during Dynamax. At max level, Bubbles' HP is basically doubled. I also decided to check the wall traders, and found the TR for Body Slam. Finding this now will definitely help us win against Milo. Gossifleur was now a 2-hit KO. Oh, and we were still only level 21 by the way. However, against Eldegoss, while we did survive max overgrowth, max strike only did a quarter. This means it's time for EV grinding. Outside Mostoke, we hunted down and took out a bunch of Stuffles, in order to boost Bubbles' attack stat. We did this until Bubbles was at level 23. Thanks to a first turn paralysis against Gossifleur, Bubbles faced Eldegoss at full health. Eldegoss' max overgrowth now did less than half Bubbles' health. However, then max strike still did only around a quarter. The single speed drop did allow Bubbles to go first, and her next max strike got a crit, taking Eldegoss to red health. Eldegoss' now grassy terrain boost and max overgrowth then took Bubbles straight to only 9 HP. We won the battle by the skin of our teeth. Following the gym, we have another battle with Hop. Wooloo still outsped, and used Defense Curl. This allowed it to survive Body Slam, but we got the first turn paralysis. Hop did use his Super Potion, but 2 more attacks took out Wooloo. Next is Flocky. It decided to use Round first. Our Body Slam then took it to half health and got another paralysis, allowing us to easily take out Flocky the following turn. Last is Corvisquire. We did not get the paralysis, but Peck was not doing that much damage, so Corvisquire went down the next turn. Time for the second gym. All of Ness's Pokemon outsped Bubbles, so we needed to change up our moveset. I gave her Protect and Counter. I also had her hold leftovers. Ness's Goldeen was a 2KO with Body Slam. Arcuda this turn was actually the bigger issue. It knows Bite, which can do a lot of damage, and flinch Bubbles. On this attempt, Arcuda got the flinch twice, before we could finally get off a Body Slam, which Arcuda survived. We did get the paralysis, so we took out Arcuda without receiving any more damage. Last is Dreadnought. It was the reason we had Counter, because in Dynamax, Counter becomes Max Knuckle. Dreadnought decided to go for its Max Darkness, which Bubbles survived in green health. Our Max Knuckle then only did a quarter. It did give us an attack boost. I decided to be safe and have Bubbles use Max Guard, but then our next Max Knuckle took Dreadnought to below a quarter. Our Dynamax then ended. Dreadnought now went for Headbutt, which Bubbles survived at 9 HP, allowing her to finish out Dreadnought with Body Slam. That was 2 very close gym battles. Following the gym is Galar Mine number 2, where we have to battle B. For this battle, we had Bubbles relearn Bite. Because Bubbles was so over leveled, she outsped and one-shot Solosis. Gothita though went first, and used Psyshock, which uses Bubbles' defense stat to better of her 2 defenses. Bite then left Gothita in red health, causing B to use a Super Potion. So we took a hit from another Psyshock, which left Bubbles at almost half health before taking out Gothita. Hatenna was just an easy one-shot, leaving only Ponyta. Ponyta outsped, and survived Bite, but Bubbles had enough health to easily tank Ponyta's confusions, taking it out in 2 hits. We're gonna head back to Mostoke, where we have to battle Marnie. Body Slam took Croagunk all the way to red health, and got the paralysis, but then Croagunk's Revenge took Bubbles to half health. Marnie did use her Super Potion, but 2 more hits took out Croagunk. Next is Morpeko, who outsped and went for Thundershock. Bubbles lived the hit, but then Body Slam only did half of Morpeko's health, allowing Morpeko to finish off Bubbles. We got Bubbles up some levels to level 35. Croagunk was now a one-shot. Morpeko's Thundershock did a third of Bubbles' health, but Body Slam now took Morpeko to red health. This caused Marnie to use her Super Potion, so Bubbles took 1 more hit from Thundershock before taking out Morpeko. Last is Scraggy. Scraggy survived Body Slam with Yolo health. Thankfully, Bubbles survived Scraggy's Headbutt with 9 HP, giving us the win. Time for the third gym. Since Bubbles was Water type, I was hoping Ninetales would only use Quick Attack and not Will-O-Wisp, but I found that not to be the case. I had to use Water Gun. At level 35, Ninetales was a 4 KO, so I got Bubbles up to level 38. This made Ninetales a 3 KO, but get this, Ninetales never used Will-O-Wisp. Instead, Arcanine went for Will-O-Wisp, missing twice before finally landing on the 3rd try. However, it was too late. 3 Water Guns took out Arcanine. Last is Scorch. It went for Max Flare-By, lowering our special attack as we went for Max Geyser. This set up the rain, lowering the power of Scorch's G-Max Inferno. That move was still an issue though, because it has a Fire Spin secondary effect. Thankfully, the rain boosted Max Geyser, causing it to take Scorch to a quarter. Scorch then decided to switch back to Max Flare-By, so we got hit with another special attack drop, causing our third and final Mass Geyser to leave Cinescorch on a sliver. This ended our Dynamax. But then Cinescorch decided to waste his turn on Smokescreen as we finished it off with Water Gun. We can now enter Hammerlock, where we bought and immediately taught Bubbles Rain Dance, before making our way to Stow Inside, where we have the Battle Hop. Cramorant went for a weak Fury attack, as Body Slam took it to a quarter. I guess because Dive is resisted, Cramorant went for a second Fury attack before we took it out. Next is Flacky. Flacky went for Screech. It survived Body Slam and low green health, but we got the paralysis. Bubbles now outsped Flacky. Her second Body Slam left Flacky on a sliver, but then Flacky just used a second Screech, so I went down. Silly Cobra surprisingly survived Body Slam at half health, allowing it to use Dig. At -4 defense, I was shocked when Bubbles lived the hit with below a third, taking out Silly Cobra with one more Body Slam. Last is Toxel, who was a one-shot. Next is the 4th gym, but we once again are having issues with the Hitmon trainer. I decided to get Bubbles up to level 42 to learn Liquidation, which one-shot Hitmonlee. Hitmonchan was a 2 KO, but Bubbles had enough health to survive 2 Mach Punches. Time for B. We immediately said Rain Dance, dodging a counter. Rain Dance boosts water moves by 50%. With no setup moves, we will need to rely on this a lot. However, our rain boosted Liquidation still left him on top in red health, allowing it to use Revenge, taking Bubbles to a quarter. We took out him on top the next turn, but then Pangoro just outsped and finished off Bubbles. At level 45, Hammertop was now a one-shot with Liquidation. We were still at half health from Revenge, but Pangoro decided to use Work Up, letting us one-shot it as well. However, then Surfetch survived Liquidation red health, and took out Bubbles with Revenge. I knew a couple of levels could fix this, but I was scared from Machamp, so I decided it was time to go back to EV grinding. At least now, we could take on Machokes. We did this until Bubbles was at level 48. Pangoro still wasted his turn on Work Up, but then Surfetch decided to use Swords Dance, as our Liquidation now one-shot it. All that remains was Machamp. It went for Max Darkness, which did less damage than expected, as Max Geyser took Machamp to red health, guaranteeing us the win. Following the gym was about Bead, but Bubbles now had Jaw Lock, so his team was no issue. On to Leia, where he picked up the Eviolite before challenging his 5th gym. I still kept with leftovers for this battle. Weezing went first, and did a throw with Sludge as we said Rain Dance. Bubbles then got the speed boost from Opal, allowing her to outspeed and hit Weezing with Liquidation, which took Weezing to below a quarter. Weezing then hit Bubbles with a second Sludge, surprisingly not getting the poison as we finished it off. Mawa was next, so our attack is down from Intimidate. However, Liquidation still took Mawa all the way to red health. Mawa decided to set up Iron Defense, so we took it out without receiving any damage. Our rain then ended, so Liquidation only did a third to Togekiss. Togekiss's Air Slash then took Bubbles to yellow health. I figured we had enough health, so I had Bubbles reset the rain. But then Togekiss survived our next Liquidation. This allowed Togekiss to leave Bubbles on a sliver, before we could take it out. Thankfully we got the attack boost for Opal, because that meant Alcremia needed one shot. We can now make our way back to Hammerlock, where we have the Battle Hop. I decided to now give Bubbles the Eviolite. Trevenant outsped, and its Horn Leech took Bubbles to almost half, but it was a one-shot with Jaw Lock. This sound Rillaboom, who outsped and finished off Bubbles. Back to the grind. At this point, with a minus speed nature, I decided it was better to raise Bubbles' bulk, so I had her take out Diggersby's for HP EVs, and Carcoals and Torkoals for defense EVs. At level 53, Bubbles now outsped Trevenant, so we were in full health for Rillaboom. Rillaboom's Drunk Beating did over half of Bubbles' health, as her recently learned Ice Fang took Rillaboom to a quarter. Time to go back to take out Machokes. At one point, I got so irritated, I switched to doing raids for ESP candies. Eventually, at level 63, we got this attempt. Drum Beating now did a third, but more importantly, Ice Fang one-shot Rillaboom. Next I was Bolt Hunt. Its Spark did almost another third, but it was a one-shot with Liquidation. Snorlax survived Liquidation with a sliver, but went for Stockpile. I thought Hop would use his potion, so I had Bubbles use Rain Dance. However, Snorlax went for Body Slam, which thankfully did not get the paralysis, so we easily took it out the next turn. Last is Heatmore, who was a one-shot. Time for the 6th gym. Barbarica went first and used Shell Smash. This allowed Bubbles to not take any damage and one-shot not only Barbarica, but the rest of the Gordy's team. Following the gym, we have another battle with Hop. I'm just going to skip to the winning attempt on this one. At level 70, Double went first and set up Defense Curl, but then our Liquidation got a crit, one-shotting Double. This sent a Rillaboom. Drum Beating took Bubbles to just above half health, but our Ice Fang one-shot Rillaboom. Pincurchin and Snorlax were both one-shots with Liquidation, leaving only Corviknight. Corviknight outsped. It did some damage with Drill Peck, as Liquidation took it to a sliver. Corviknight then went down to hail damage. We can now go down to Route 9, where we have to battle Marnie. Liepard decided to waste his turn on Nasty Plot, so he one-shot it with Revenge. Morpeko also decided to waste his turn, so it was a one-shot with Liquidation. Toxicroak decided to go for Swagger, so our attack was now boosted. Plus Bubbles did not hit herself, and one-shot Toxicroak with Ice Fang. Last is Scrafty, who Bubbles outsped and one-shot with Liquidation. Time for the 7th gym. Scrafty is first, so Bubbles' attack was down from Intimidate. I had her first set Rain Dance, but then Scrafty just barely survived Liquidation. And to make things funnier, Malamar also survived Liquidation. This left us with not enough HP for Obstagoon. A few levels later, Scrafty and Malamar were now both one-shots. Obstagoon went for Throat Chop, but it didn't do that much damage as Liquidation took it to half health. Bubbles then went first and finished off Obstagoon. Obstagoon was probably trying to go for counter. Last out was Skuntank. It decided to spam Sucker Punch, which was also not doing that much damage, as we took it out with 2 Liquidations, surviving Aftermath with red health. Off to the final gym. Flygon went first and went for Thunder Punch and the Magikarp, allowing Bubbles to get the one-shot on Flygon with Ice Fang. We then went for Liquidation, one-shotting Gigalith. Despite Sandaconda outspeeding, it decided to use Glare, so Bubbles was paralyzed. This meant Sandaconda and Duraludon were both going to outspeed Bubbles, though they barely did any damage, as Bubbles' Max Knuckle did over half of Duraludon's health. Sandaconda then went for Protect, so we only took some damage from Duraludon before taking it out. All that remained was Sandaconda, who went down to Max Geyser. We can now head to Wyndon to attend the semifinals, where our first opponent is Marnie. Liepard did a little damage with Snarl, but was a one-shot with Revenge. Morpeko went for Spark, but Bubbles was too tanky at this point, so it was a one-shot. Scrafty now outsped Bubbles, but it couldn't do that much damage. Toxicroak again boosted our attack with Swagger, basically guaranteeing our one-shots on it and Grimmsnarl. Next is Hop. Double went first, instead of Cotton Guard, as we went for Liquidation, which took Double to below half health. So Bubbles took some damage from Body Slam before finishing off Double. Pincurchin and Snorlax were both one-shots. Corviknight survived Liquidation, causing Hop to use his full store, but Corviknight could not do that much damage, so it easily went down. Last is Rillaboom. Max Overgrowth thankfully only took Bubbles to a third, as our Max Hailstorm one-shot Rillaboom. With the semifinals done, we have the Skeletor's Tower, where we have to battle Oleana. This battle was tricky. If Frostless missed its Will-O-Wisp, Liquidation one-shot it. However, then out came Serena. Serena outsped, and its Dropkick not only did over half of Bubbles' health, it has a guaranteed attack drop. A few levels later, we again managed to dodge Frostless's Will-O-Wisp. However, for some reason, Serena went for Acrobatics, allowing us to take it out with Ice Fang. Salazzle was a one-shot with Liquidation. Milotic went first instead of Aqua Ring because we had to use Revenge, which did less than half. A second Revenge took Milotic to red health, causing it to use Recover, but then as we went for Liquidation, it got a crit and took out Milotic. Well, okay then. Last is Garbodor, who was a one-shot Max Geyser. We can now start the finals, but first is the battle of Bead. Mawile was first, so Bubbles' attack was down from Intimidate. I first had Bubbles set Rain Dance, as Mawile's Play Rough did less than a quarter. It was a one-shot with Liquidation. Gardevoir wasted his turn on Wish, so it was a one-shot. Rapidash couldn't do that much damage, so last out was Hatterene. Hatterene survived Max Geyser with a Sliver, allowing it to use G-Max Smite, taking Bubbles to under half and confusing her. Thankfully, she did not hit herself and took out Hatterene. Time for Nessa. I had to replace Revenge with Body Slam, because Nessa leads with Golisopod, though it only did half a Bleed Spot's health. It did activate its emergency exit. Next out was Seaking. Seaking went first, instead of Aqua Ring, as Body Slam took into red health. This caused Nessa to use her full restore, so Bubbles got hit with Mega Horn before taking out Seaking. Bleed Spot's back. It went for First Depression, but went down to one more Body Slam. Bear Scooter was a one-shot Body Slam. Pelipper survived Body Slam, setting up Tailwind before we could finish it off. Last is Dreadnought. With Tailwind up, it went first, but just like during the gym battle, it decided to use Max Darkness, before going down to a single Max Geyser. Next is Beat. Alucha went first, and did a quarter with High Jump Kick, but went down to one Liquidation. Surfetched also went first, and its Leaf Blade took Bubbles to under half health. It also saw a Liquidation. This caused B to use her full restore, but then our next Liquidation got a higher roll and took out Surfetch. Phalanx decided to set up no retreat, the defense boost helping Phalanx survive Liquidation with a third. Phalanx then tried to set up a second no retreat, allowing us to finish it off. Grapplock also survived Liquidation, but then went for Submission, the recoil damage causing it to faint. Last is Machamp. Machamp survived Max Geyser on a Sliver, but then its G-Max G-Strike didn't do that much damage, so we took it out the next turn. Last is Raihan. I had Bubble set Rain Dance, causing Torkoal's Solar Beam to take another turn. We then one-shot Torkoal with Liquidation. This sent out Goodra. I accidentally had Bubbles use Liquidation, which Goodra survived. Raihan then used his full restore, but this time we went for Ice Fang, which took out Goodra. Flygon wasted his turn on Sandstorm, so we easily took it out. We set Rain Dance against Turtonator, so we could guarantee our one-shot, leaving only Duraludon. With no Max Knuckle, we had to use Max Hailstorm, which took all 3 turns. All that was left was Leon. But first we had to battle Tremor and Rose. Escavalier lived a hit from Liquidation, but it went for Sword Stance, so we took it out. However, then Ferrothorn came out. It completely stalled out Bubbles with Curse, before then taking her out with Power Whip. We did some leveling, but I kid you not, we only won because Power Whip missed. This sent out Clink Clank, who took Bubbles to a quarter of Wild Charge, but was a one-shot. Berserker we outspent in one-shot, so last is Kabaraja. Kabaraja survived Max Geyser, but thankfully Bubbles survived Max Quake with red health, and finished off Kabaraja. Time for Eternatus. It went first, but its Cross Poison didn't do that much damage, while our Ice Fang 2-shot it. For Eternamax Eternatus, we went fully on the offensive. Our Eviolite allowed Bubbles to survive Max Wormwind with over half health. Also, Ice Fang was doing good damage, helping take out Eternatus in 5 turns. Finally, it's time for Leon. With only Rain Dance, we quickly went on the offensive, but Aegislash's Shield Form survived Liquidation. Its Shadow Ball only did a third, but then next out was Dragapult, who took Bubbles to below a quarter with Thunderbolt. It was a one-shot with Ice Fang. What really put the nail in the coffin though, was that Mr. Rime outsped Bubbles. 2 Pokemon with super effective moves, who both outsped Bubbles, was brick walling us. I tried multiple things. I got Bubbles up to level 100, but Mr. Rime still outsped. I changed Bubbles' nature with the Serious Mint from the Out of Armor, but Bubbles was still slower than Mr. Rime. We got the Quick Claw, and we got to activate against Dragapult, but after Mr. Rime came Haxorus, who outspeeds Bubbles. It's been a long time since I had to do this. We had to make a visit to Lady Clear, to erase Bubbles' EVs. We then went to the Pokemon Center in Winden, and redid Bubbles' EVs, giving her max attack and max speed. With this and Eviolite equipped, we battled Leon. We still went for Rain Dance into Aegislash to avoid King Shield, but we without a doubt now one-shot Aegislash. Dragapult of course still hit Bubbles with Thunderbolt, but more importantly, Bubbles now outsped Mr. Rime in one-shot with Jawlock. Max Speed Bubbles also outsped Haxorus, who went down to Ice Fang. Italian outsped Bubbles and went for Dark Pulse, taking Bubbles to below half. It then survived Jawlock, causing Leon to use his full restore, though this time Italian used Tearful Look, lowering Bubbles' attack stat before going down. Last is Charizard. I knew Charizard had Max Overgrowth, but I was not expecting Bubbles to live the hit with red health, and also for Bubbles at -1 attack to one-shot Charizard with a single Max Geyser. We beat Pokemon Sword with only Chewtle. Thank you to everyone who watched this video, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.